friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind GodUpdates and God2, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
How texting the wrong number caused two complete strangers to fall in love. Written by Adam Staten, read by Adam Staten. Text sent to the wrong number resulted in two people falling in love, marrying, and having 6 children together. Love is a mysterious and often confounding thing. It's an emotion that has kept singers, songwriters, and poets busy for hundreds of years, providing them with plenty of material. Love is something that can cause people to say and do things they otherwise would not. However, love often begins in places where we least expect it. For one happily married couple, love sprang from an errant text. In a video posted to YouTube, Brenda Rivera recounts how she sent a text intended for someone else to the man who would eventually become her husband. Brenda, who lived in Georgia, texted a Bible verse to a friend, or so she thought. Instead of her friend's number, one of the digits was wrong, and the text went to Isaiah Stearns, who lived in Ohio. But instead of simply ignoring the text, Isaiah responded, "My name's Isaiah Stearns. We've never met, but by the looks of your text, I can see that you love God." "That's awesome," Isaiah's text read. In the interview, Isaiah mentioned that his motivation for replying to the text was, "Oh, this is another person that can help me in my walk with God." Isaiah then worked up the courage and called the number that sent him the text, Brenda's number. Like most people, Brenda didn't answer the call from the number she didn't recognize, but she admitted she did listen to the voicemail. "He just sounded very genuine, and he sounded kind of cute," Brenda said. "So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give him a call back." Brenda's call back led to them talking on the phone every day. However, Isaiah had to clear one big hurdle before meeting Brenda in person. He met Brenda's mom, who happened to also live in Ohio. Brenda's mom had only good things to report to her daughter about Isaiah, giving him a very high ranking on her scale. Without hesitation, she said 11. "You're going to marry this guy," Brenda said. Brenda and Isaiah finally met in person soon after getting Brenda's mother's approval. Just 3 short months after their meeting, Isaiah popped a question. "Yeah, there was no reason to waste time," Isaiah said. "We had a really deep connection. I was like, I need to step out in faith and do this." After 13 years of marriage and 6 children, the couple is still happily married and going strong. Their love story is amazing. God was definitely at work. Isaiah got a new number and phone plan just 30 minutes before receiving that initial mistaken first text. Just how everything was orchestrated. "We would 100% believe that it was from God," Brenda said, "so that they are no longer two but one flesh. Then let not that which had been joined by God be parted by man." Matthew 19:6.
What happens when a writer and former history teacher goes toe-to-toe with his best friend, a nationally touring stand-up comedian? Total carnage, that's what. 2 men enter, and 2 men leave, because that's how it works.
Actually, you get hilarious, real, and insightful conversations about life, history, culture, faith, and everything in between.
Join me, comedian Johnny W., and my pal, author and speaker John Driver for Talk About That at lifeaudio.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Four armed men walked into church, so pastor starts praying for them. Written by Adam Staten, read by Adam Staten. A pastor stopped gunmen who entered the church by praying for them, and he says that peaceful resolution shows God is the greatest power. The world is often a violent and dangerous place. Stories about horrendous and devastating acts of violence litter websites and television screens. But one quick-thinking pastor used the power of prayer and God to keep a tense situation from turning into something much worse. 4 men wearing masks and carrying guns entered a church in Ferguson, Missouri during one Sunday morning service. The pastor of the church, Marquella Futrell, also a former member of law enforcement, noticed something was off about the 4 men immediately. He quickly spotted their weapons, remained calm, but still took decisive action. Pastor Futrell, not wanting to cause alarm, told his staff to lock the church's doors and call officers. Then the pastor stopped the gunmen by approaching the four men during the service, asking them why they attended that morning service. Next, the pastor asked all four of the men if it was okay to pray for them. All four of them agreed, and then members of the congregation gathered around them, praying for the young men. The pastor, with his instincts, prayer, and God, stopped the four men from inflicting violence upon those in the church. In an interview on Fox News, Pastor Futrell said the four men were wanted for 2 convenience store robberies that took place just hours before the church service. Despite his efforts, the pastor gave God the glory for keeping him and the members of his congregation safe. We believe God is the greatest power, he said, and we cannot be defeated. What a powerful clip that shows the power of prayer and a pastor who was quick on his feet. God had his hand of protection over the people in that church. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. 1 John 5:14.
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.
Our world can feel chaotic and uncertain, but we don't have to live enslaved to fear. Christ has promised you and I his peace, and throughout Scripture, he has provided powerful truths and practical steps to help us experience greater freedom. I'm Jennifer Slattery, lead host of the Faith Over Fear podcast, inviting you to join me and my team as together we learn how to starve our fears and grow our faith. Subscribe at lifeaudio.com.